Hi guys, Miss Redican. I'm going to walk you through so you can finish your lab today. It is due today, and this is going to help you get through. Okay, so it's the acid-base titration lab. You should have open. We've been working on that. You should have done the reading. You should have had your reading checking questions already done. You should have already done the pre-lab. The moles of the base and the molarity of the base should have been done probably Friday. Yesterday, you should have done the titrations and found your average volume of the base that you used to titrate the acid I gave you. And you should have found the molarity of that acid using the titration formula. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the conclusion and the CER. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit. What is the concentration of the acid is the question of this lab. So your number goes here, right? The number you found for the molarity of the acid specifically. Our observations should include that we saw the acid turn pink. The acid turned pink. And then you also have your numerical, right? You can show your math, how you solved for that. So whatever formula you used, right? Okay, again, pause the video as you need, because I'm going to just keep going, and you can pause it and then replay parts of it as you need. Here we go. So we always start off our reasoning with restating the claim in a sentence form. I go back to my question and use it as a sentence starter. So what is the concentration of the acid? The concentration, I'm abbreviating, you will write out the whole word, of the acid is, and don't forget units. Everybody's going to be different, so I don't know your number. Again, this is not the molarity of the base. This is the molarity of the acid, because that's the question being asked. Next, we have to include our evidence. Again, pause the video as you need. So you can do the data includes, and you can write, you can copy and paste your evidence, basically, into there. And then we have to explain it. Okay, so our first thing we have to explain is what turning pink means. Okay. When the acid turned pink, the endpoint of neutralization was reached. Right? That's why you stopped. You reached the endpoint. And the endpoint in this lab was the acid and the base had reached essentially equal. They were neutral. Again, pause the video as you need. But we use this word neutralization. We need to explain that further. In this neutralization, the moles of H+, which is my acid, use your vocabulary, H+, and the moles of base, which is our hydroxide, that's our base. Okay. Sorry, no. Let me clean this up a little. H- were equal, right? They were neutral. The acid neutralized the base, so we know that the moles of the H+, the acid, equaled the OH, the base. They were equal. They were neutral. Now I can end it. Again, pause your video as you need with a nice conclusion statement. You can use in conclusion, in summary. I'm going to do in conclusion. And I like restating the beginning, but I'm going to add to it the molarity of the unknown acid was blank molar. Again, whatever it was for your group. Now I'm going to add, I don't want to just leave it like that. I've already said that like 3 times. I'm going to compare it to the base that I used. Okay. In conclusion, the molarity of the unknown acid was blank, which compared to the base, which had a blank molarity, whatever your base's molarity was, is greater than, equal to, less than, I don't know, make a comparison. Compare the acid to the base, right? So look at the numbers. Is it greater than, less than, or equal to when you compare them? So just to recap, we answer the question, we include data, we explain the data, we explain what the terms I'm using means, and then I conclude, but not just restate my conclusion, it gives me something new as well, a comparison. Okay. Now we're going to get to our summary here at the end, our conclusion, our summary of the whole lab, not just the data. So again, if you need to pause, go. I'm going to keep going. Okay, so in conclusion, in summary, whatever one you want to use, I'm going to do in summary. Okay, and then you're going to discuss. Don't use personal pronouns. Right? We don't use your, we, I in lab reports. So in summary, talk in third person. What's a titration? What's neutralization? Go back to the reading. Go back to the text. Okay. And then once you're done that, you're going to explain a real-world example. So talk about that first, and then maybe you transition to in the real world, in daily life, something like that, and give a real-world example. Explain it. Now, don't just mention it. Explain it. So you might have to use the textbook. You might have to do a little internet research. Where are titrations and neutralizations used in the real world? Okay. So this is going to take you a little bit of time. Make sure you probably about 15, 20 minutes because you got to do a little research as well as summarize. So use the internet or use the textbook. Okay. Now, when you're done that, we have one last thing that's not here. You have to add it in. So I hope you're still listening. Last but not least, you're going to do percent error. Okay. Percent error. I forgot to put a box here for it. Percent error is measured value minus accepted, parentheses, divided by the accepted, and then you multiply by 100. This formula can be found in your reference table, the last page, table T. We've used this formula. Okay, so how are you going to use it for this lab? The measured value is the molarity of your acid, whatever that number is for your group. And then here's the real answer. The real answer was 0.10 molar. That's the accepted value. And make sure you're using parentheses and you're multiplying by 100 to turn it into percent. So let's see at the end here how close you were. How good was your titration skills? Okay? If you have a negative number, that's fine. It means you were below the real answer. If you have a positive number, it means you were above the real answer. Okay? When you're done all of this, turn it in, and then you're going to do some practice for tomorrow, some titration practice. I give you the answers, so I'm looking for the numerical setup. And then you're also going to review how to identify reactions. Okay? Synthesis, decomposition, acid-base neutralization is the new one. Okay? So that's the class today. And good luck, and I will see you tomorrow. The quiz is still tomorrow.